Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Diary of a Dad. Today we are going to go through similar themes as the other videos. So we'll be talking about my reflections of the week, some of the things that I've learned, and then a nice summary towards the end. But before we start, I just wanted to mention that all the things that I go through in these videos, this isn't me telling you how to live your life or parent, because what might work for me may not work for you. And therefore, what I would say is take what you find beneficial and leave the things that you don't. These are just things that I've been trying, that I've been experiencing, and these are some of the things that are actually working for me. In reality, when I record these podcasts, I listen to these back to myself on the way to work, on the way back from work, so it acts as a reminder for me. But more importantly, it's a very, very powerful way for me to ensure that whatever's happening during the week, I'm documenting it, because I'm writing things down in a way that I know I'm going to have to explain it to you guys at the end of the week. So the first story that I wanted to touch upon was something that happened earlier this week between me and Isa. So we were having a chat after school. I was getting on with something and he was doing something else, and somehow we got into the conversation about how he wants to be cool and how he wants to be around those people that are also cool. So it was a very interesting conversation, because my first reaction was, no, why do you want to be around cool people, and just attacking the idea. But instead I thought, let me try a different approach. So I asked him about, okay, what makes someone cool? And he responded about someone's hairstyle. If he's got a cool hairstyle, that makes him cool. I said, oh, okay. So it's a hairstyle that makes someone cool. And he said, not only that, he said, the clothes that the person wears. If he's wearing nice clothes, cool clothes, then, that makes him cool as well. And this is the type of people I want to be around. And then I just said, so what if one day that guy or that person comes with a bad hairstyle, or the clothes are not as good as he usually wears, or they're damaged in some way, then for that day, does that mean that he's not cool anymore? And this conversation went on for about a minute or two about the different characteristics, and all of these characteristics were something external. But very soon I realized that the conversation we were having isn't about being cool, but the type of crowd he wants to be around, and also the person he wants to aspire to. I think in his mind, subconsciously, cool is a synonym of someone that he aspires to be like. And therefore I thought this was a very, very important discussion. But the funny thing was that after about a minute, he said, oh, Dad, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to tell me that it's not something outside that makes someone cool, but rather how they are and how they act with me. And that is exactly the point I was trying to make. Now, if I'm being very honest, once he realized that, I don't think I had full buy-in. But the fact that we at least reached the point where he knows what I'm trying to say without me telling him, and the characteristics that you should be looking for instead. Someone that is kind, supportive, nurturing. Someone that's going to go out their way for you, that'll help you, that's going to build you up rather than bring you down. That was very, very important. But I know that this is something that he's going to be thinking about now. The next time he looks at someone cool, even though he's not fully bought in just yet, he's going to be thinking about these qualities. And does this person have these qualities that we discussed before as well? And what that made me really think about was just how we value ourselves and how we ascribe value. Now, if we ascribe value to the way we look or the clothes that we have, then does that mean that if we're not wearing those clothes that we no longer have value anymore? And this is something that I wanted to think about, because I've always felt that for designer clothes, this is something that I've always been against. And not everyone believes in what I'm saying or holds those same values, but I've always felt that initially when I was younger, I used to buy a lot of designer clothes, and when I wore them, then I felt better, and I felt that people would respect me or treat me better. And as soon as those clothes wore off, then I didn't really feel the same way. And that was very dangerous for my subconscious and my self-confidence, because then I'm ascribing my value to something external, whereas rather I should be focusing on building up myself, my skills, so I'm more confident in who I am. So regardless of how my hair looks, which I don't really need to worry about anymore, or the clothes that I'm wearing, or any of the other 100 external factors, my confidence will still be there. My self-worth, my self-esteem is still going to be there because it's within me. And this is something that I wanted him to begin adopting at this young age. I wanted to try to teach him self-worth and also the type of person that he should be aspiring to be. The second point for this week was a discussion we were having in a group chat. So I have got this group chat full of some great guys, and it's a gaming chat. So I don't take part in it as much anymore, but I still like to go into the chat now and then and have a little discussion because I like to keep in touch. And what happened this week was we were having a discussion about someone that's joined the chat, but the discussion revolved around him being 18 and not feeling comfortable enough to speak online. Now, to give a bit of context, he has been playing with this group for a long time, but never actually met them in person. He's met a few of them, but for the most part, he hasn't met most of them. But they've been playing games for years, and the discussion it's not really about the person. It's just the point that I was trying to put forward was that being 18 and not being comfortable enough to speak to people that you played with for a very long time it's a very, very worrying thing for me. But the problem was that a large majority of the group, they were under the impression that, it's fine, he will begin talking to people when he's comfortable and in his own time and not to push him. Whereas for me, I was in the complete opposite camp. And to be fair, in the whole group, there may be 20, 25 people in there, maybe more. I was the only one that had this opinion, apart from one other person that shared that opinion with me. But no, he needs to be forced to talk, otherwise he shouldn't be playing. And I know that may sound like a bit of an extreme opinion, but it's based on some solid principles, and I want to go through them with you today. Firstly, I feel that now we have a snowflake mentality. That means that we're too worried about hurting people all the time, even if ultimately this person's going to benefit. So the way that I was thinking about this is that at some point in life, he's going to have to become comfortable talking to other people. That may be extended family members, it may be people at work, or eventually when he's looking to, get married or find someone, he's going to have to muster up the courage to talk to people that he doesn't know. In one way or another, it's going to have to happen. So if he has to do it in 8 years, why not now? And that's the point I was trying to make, is that sometimes in life you have to be cruel to be kind. Yes, forcing him out of this circumstance is going to make him uncomfortable, no doubt. But eventually, he's going to be grateful that you did it. And if anything, he said, why didn't I do this sooner? Because it wasn't as hard as I thought it'd be. And if we're just so worried about hurting someone, even though genuinely you want what's better, or for them to adopt skills that are going to be positive, because if he doesn't talk to people, or doesn't feel comfortable, or is just very, very appears unconfident in front of other people, he's greatly limiting his prospects of success in the future. I'm not saying he's not going to be successful, I'm saying that the chances, there are a lot of doors that are going to be closed just because he can't speak to other people. And that brought me back to in my own life and the things that I'm doing. So with Isa, even at the age of 4, I was forcing him to shake hands of extended family members, friends, people that I know or see around the mosque when I'm there. And even initially, he was very adamant that he didn't want to do it because he was shy. I forced him. And now, when I'm having discussions and he's playing, he'll come up to the group and he'll shake hands, without even me asking, and say, oh, how are you? And that's it. And then he'll go back to his own thing. And that thing is not even an obstacle in his head. It's just something that normally what we should be doing. And this is extended to when we're going out, and if he needs something from the waiter, or if we're at a shop somewhere, he'll be more than comfortable to ask questions of things that he needs. And I'll go back to my own childhood, where when I was younger, I didn't really like talking to people that I didn't know. So even when I'm going shopping or going to town to buy something, then I'd rather a friend ask for me than me ask for myself. And I could do it if I wanted to, I just didn't. You know, and I just felt that these skills are extremely important, and just giving him the skills that he needs to succeed in life. And whether he needs that or not, you know, it's better for him to have these skills and never need them than be in a situation where you really need these skills to succeed and you don't have them ready. Better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Better to have these skills and not need them than needing these skills and not having them. Okay, let's move on to the next part of the video. So we've talked about things that have happened this week. Let's talk about some of the lessons that I've learned or the things that I've been thinking about this week. And the first was the risk of distraction. So this is not so much now, but when I was younger, this is something I used to do a lot. And just listening about it this week made me think back to that time. And it made me think about how I delay the things that I don't like doing more than the time it takes me to actually do the thing. And this is something I used to do a lot. I had a deadline or a task that I've been given, and I just used to leave it there, and then until the last day or an hour or two before, then I'd just quickly rush and get it done, and it wouldn't be my best work. And sometimes you'd find some issues or problems which meant that you can't really deal with it straight away, and you need to speak to someone to get clarification. And that ultimately led to me missing the deadline. And this is not just with work, but in my own personal projects as well, that if there's something that I can do, I need to do it now instead of delaying it, because it's not really going to take you as long as you think. And then that time that you would have spent procrastinating, you can use it to do other things. And now my mindset leans more towards the fact that I'm trying to reduce the amount of time from thinking something and actually doing it. And the shorter that time span becomes, then the more successful that I will be. And this is the mindset that I'm having right now, where I want to delay the amount of time that I'm taking from thinking and doing. If you had £86,400 in your bank account, and suddenly you found that £10 went missing, would you then take the remainder of that money and throw it away? Of course not. You wouldn't worry about that small piece of money that's disappeared, because you still got such a big portion left. And that's the exact same with life. You have 86,400 seconds in every single day. And just because a very, very small portion of that day didn't go the way you wanted it to, doesn't mean that you need to throw the rest of the day away, thinking, worrying, stressing about that 10 seconds of the bad experiences that you had. Don't let one bad moment ruin an entire day. And this is something that really hit me this week, because something I was reading mentioned this little story. So at work, there was something that happened, and it wasn't even that big a deal, to be honest, but I found myself on the way back home thinking about it a little here and there, and I just kept thinking, hang on, why am I wasting my time that I could be learning, I could be talking to a friend, or just be in a good mood, thinking about that small thing that's not even going to matter. And to be honest, I don't even remember what it is right now. So don't let one small thing that's happened in your day ruin your entire day. And when these things happen, then it's important to know that you are human. You're not going to recover instantly from this bad experience. What we need to try to do is we need to reduce the time it takes for us from this thing or experience happening to the time that we feel better again. And initially, this may take hours, it may take days, okay, but we need to try shorten that down to minutes, even seconds, depending on what the experience is. And the faster we do that, the less of our day that we'll be wasting. You once wanted the life you have. And if you don't like the life you have, then you probably won't like the life that you want either. So this is something that I was thinking about this week, about how some people, they have the mindset that if only I have X, Y, and Z, then I'll be happy. And this goes for me as well, is that what you have today, what you have now, probably at one time in your life you wanted this, but you're not happy. So if you're not happy now the way you have your life now, whatever you say you're going to have and the things that you want, even if you have that, you're not going to be happy. Because happiness for you isn't a destination. The happiness will lie in your mindset. And I know personally that the things I have today, these are things that I really wanted 5-10 years ago. To live abroad, to have a wife, to have kids. These are all things that I said, when I get that, I'm going to be happy. And now that I'm here, and don't get me wrong, I am happy, but now my aspirations are something else. Or now I'm going to really be happy when I achieve this or that goal. And firstly, it made me think, okay, just be happy with what you have now. Be content with everything that you have. And even if nothing changes, just be happy with the way your life is. Because if we don't change that mindset, and if I don't change this mindset, then no matter where I go in life, I'm always going to be looking further ahead and not being happy with what I have now. And that's going to ruin the present. Because the journey that I'm on is not going to change dramatically. It's going to take years to achieve the goals that I want to achieve. And therefore, I need to be okay with being happy with who I am now. And this is something that, for me, the action point is just being more grateful. Throughout the day, being grateful for the things I have and to consciously think of things that I'm grateful for. And I think one of the main reasons why we are stuck in this negative mindset, or I'll be happy when mindset, is because we're always comparing. We're comparing ourselves with people that have more than us, always. But we never compare ourselves with people that have less. Comparison is the thief of joy. And therefore, this person's got 10 properties and his wife doesn't have to work because he's making enough money, and we're just comparing ourselves to other people. It's not going to really make us happy. It's not going to change our mindset, and it's always going to put us in a negative place. You've already achieved goals you said would make you happy, and this is just a reiteration, but probably a bit more succinct. Okay, for me, I know what I have, and now my goals have changed, and there's nothing wrong with aspiration. We always want to be better and fulfill our true potential, and that means over time, like Kaizen, we are constantly improving, and that's absolutely fine. But be happy with where you are now, and understand that where you are now is what you dreamed about once upon a time. If you are a friend to everyone, you're an enemy to yourself. So this is a podcast. This was something Mike Tyson said on a podcast. And it made me think, if you try to please everyone, you'll end up pleasing no one. And it got me thinking about something that happened a while back at a school I used to work for. And the story or the context of it was that during Ramadan, the timings in Dubai change. So Ramadan is the time of the month where you're fasting, and therefore, because people are fasting, we have shorter working hours just to make it easier for us to go about our day. And the question was that as a school, should we start early and finish early, or should we start later and finish later? And therefore, teachers, parents and all stakeholders, they put in a poll, an online poll, and based on that decision, then based on the outcome or the responses, then they'd make a decision of one or the other. Now, what happened was that the school had their discussion, and ultimately what they decided to do was not start late and not finish late, not start late or start early. Rather, what they did was they wanted to go in the middle. And for this decision, I think it kind of backfired, because from the teacher's perspective, we're not starting early, we're not starting late, so we don't get a lie-in, but we're just somewhere in the middle. So the teachers weren't happy. The parents, the same issues why they wanted to start late was because of traffic, and then now they're still going to experience traffic, so the parents weren't happy. And therefore, what the school tried to do, and obviously vision is 2020 here, and only in retrospect we can see, okay, this was maybe not the best decision. And at the time it may have been, we didn't know, it could have went either way. But it didn't make anyone happy. And it made me think about what I was listening to this week, where if you try to please everyone and try to find a compromise between everyone, then many a times you'll just find that there'll be no one in the group that's happy with that decision. And that also goes back in life as well, that you can't please everyone. And slowly, I'm learning to be okay with that. You know, I don't feel like I'm 100% there yet, but I'm learning to be okay that there are definitely people that don't like me. Or there may be people that don't like the way I do things, or who I am, or maybe because of an actual mistake that I made a very long time ago, that people feel that I'm not changed from that, and that's fine. And I need to understand that that's okay. They're on their journey, but I'm not going to be able to please everyone. And therefore, what I should do is, if I'm not going to be able to please everyone, then just do the things that make me happy and align with my principles and values. And the people that like that, those are the people that are going to be that will gravitate towards me, and I need to be okay with that. If you try to please everyone, you'll please no one. Jealous of the trophy, but not the work. So Jimmy Carr once said that everyone is jealous of what you've got. No one is jealous of how you've got it. And when I heard this quote, it just got me thinking about a lot of different things. First and foremost, about myself, that is very, very true for me. When I see someone, when I was younger, when I saw someone successful, when I saw someone doing really well, then straight away, oh, he's probably inherited that, or he got really lucky on one thing, you know, and then that's what it is. And I'm never going to be able to get that, because I'm not going to get inheritance into that magnitude, and you know, I'm not going to get lucky. You know, I'm just not a lucky person. And I think that stemmed from the fact that when I was younger, I just didn't think that money was a good thing. I had a very bad relationship with money, and I always thought, you know, people that are rich and wealthy, they're probably bad people. And the reality was, I couldn't have been further away from the truth. I think that money doesn't make people good or bad. Now I think that money just amplifies who that person really is. And therefore, if someone of good character is good before money, when he comes into money or is wealthy, he'll just be an even better person. If a person is evil or does bad things before money, then when he comes into money, he'll just do more of the same. And that's all there is to it. And I think that, more importantly, that I don't know the work people have put in. So when I see people that are successful and are doing really, really well, I know that I need to stop myself and think, he must have worked really, really hard. But I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I may only see a snippet of an hour or two of a person a week. And based on that, I can't make any judgments. I don't know what his life is like outside of those times that I see him or that person. And therefore, I can't be so quick to judge. And rather come from a place where, oh, maybe I can learn something from him. Maybe I can learn some wisdom or learn from some of the mistakes that this person's have made, as opposed to ultimately straight away judging that there's nothing of value I can get from that person. Or worse, think, no, I can do everything better than him. And that was really a mindset I once upon a time had. And it's just about me being self-aware. Invest in yourself. So I was listening to a podcast from Alex Amosi, and one of the things he said, it wasn't actually a podcast, it was a video that he was talking about sales. And in this video, he was touching upon investing in yourself and how so many people are so quick to spend so much money on expensive possessions like the new iPhone for £1,000, but when it comes to investing in yourself or spending money on a course, even if it wasn't equivalent to £1,000, they're hesitant or they'll talk themselves out of it. And the concept, the way he coined it was, instead of spending and investing money in stocks and shares and the S&P 500, he said the SME 500. And it was just a brilliant way for him to word it, because it really stuck in my mind. And it just got me thinking that it is true. I'm so quick not to spend, when it comes to me buying a course or investing in something that's going to make me better and give me more skills, I always think twice about it. Oh, that's a lot of money. Should I really be doing that? But when it comes to possessions, I don't think twice, and I'll more than happily spend significantly more on that. And it got me thinking about spending money to learn things. And the way he phrases it is that you're paying money to learn the mistakes of others. So when you find a course, a good course, and you vetted it and you know that it's credible, but more importantly, you know the person that is leading the course has done what he says he's done, then you know you're going to get some value. And what you're doing is you're paying £1,000 for a course to learn something that is taking him 4, 5, 6 years. So you're not paying for the course, you're paying to sidestep all the mistakes he's made. And if you think about it in that way, then yeah, of course I'm going to spend money to do that. So whatever skill that I'm trying to focus on outside of school and this podcast, absolutely I'm going to be looking for courses so I can sidestep the mistakes. So instead of something that may take me 10 years, it may only take me 1. And it's got me thinking about changing my mindset. No one can take away your skills. So this is the next point so leading on from this point, he went and told us a story about himself and his family. And the point of the story was that no one can take away your skills. They can take away your possessions. If you've got money, that can be taken away. If you have property, that can all be taken away. But if you have skills that you've cultivated yourself, that can never be taken away. And he goes back and says that he was born in Iran and war started, and his father and his uncle, they both left that country, and his father went to America and his uncle went to United Kingdom. He lived in London. Now, before this happened, his father was a doctor, and his uncle, he owned the lottery, and therefore he was very, very wealthy in Iran. And when he moved to London, he lived a very, very simple life. And even years after, when they went to visit London and visit him, they realized that they were living in a very, very simple way, and they were working very, very hard. They didn't have many possessions, and it was just overall a very, very sad state of affairs, living hand to mouth and paycheck to paycheck every month. And he compared that same situation with his father, who was a doctor, and he had acquired these skills, and he put a lot of time becoming a master at his craft. And very, very quickly, even though he came with such a small amount of money to America, very quickly he was successful, and he was able to build and acquire a lot of wealth very quickly. And that was because of the skills that he had. And a second point of wisdom that I took from that was that, yeah, number one, you need to invest in yourself and sidestep the mistakes of others. But number two, when you acquire these skills and learn to do something, no one can take it away from you. And even if you lose everything else and you only have these skills, then you still have a very, very good chance of being successful. And you see this all the time, where people have lost everything, and they may have taken 5, 10 years to establish a successful company, but something happens. Then they start again. This time it doesn't take them 10 years. They can do it in a year or less, because they're sidestepping and they're fast forwarding their business, because they've learned what not to do already. So invest in yourself and stop and change your mindset when it comes to investing. You're happy to pay for money for a possession that will deteriorate over time and won't even add that much value, but for a skill that will, if you become good at it, allow you to buy the things you want to buy anyway, you're not willing to invest. The lag between acting like a winner and actually winning. And when I was listening to this week, it really resonated with me. because of what I'm going through now. And the point that they were trying to make was that there is always a lag between when you start implementing the actions of someone that's successful, waking up early, using your time productively, always learning, doing rather than just thinking, and when you actually start winning. And the reason why so many people give up quickly is because they're not getting any positive feedback quick enough. And the point that was made was that we need to extend our time horizons. Don't think of it in days or months, but think of it in years. And what will happen is that initially things will grow very, very slowly, slower than you can imagine. But later, they will grow faster than you can ever perceive. And this was something that was said by Alex, who was very, very successful. And it got me thinking about even just this podcast. Even if we're just getting 5-10 views every episode, that's fine. Sometimes I just think about, imagine 10 people in this room listening to me talk and coming out of their own accord to listen. And that still makes me feel like, wow, 10 people have come and sat and listened to what I want to say. And when I look back at my purpose of this podcast, it's for the kids the people that are kids now that are going to be older soon, for my kids, or the kids around me. And I want them to learn from there, or new parents, for them to learn. So yeah, I need to extend my time horizons. Even if today there's not many people listening, I know that if I'm consistent, the number will only grow, and the people that will benefit or take something positive or become better parents will only grow. And that's all I really, really want. So number one for me is extend your time horizon and know that the positive feedback loop is coming. The question is just when, and I just need to carry on being consistent and being better. Okay, so just a summary and a recap for all this week. What does it mean to be cool? And the type of people that I want Isa to aspire to. Sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind when you have to force someone out of a situation or a bad habit that they have, because you know that it's going to benefit them in the long run, and that's okay. The risk of distraction, delaying things you don't want to do, or delaying it for a longer period of time than it's actually going to take you to do it. Not letting bad things ruin your day, especially if it's such a short portion of your day. Being happy with where you are now. You once wanted the life that you have, and if you don't like the life you have now, then you're probably not going to like the life that you want to have in the future. If you try to please everyone, you'll please no one. And understand that you don't see the work behind people's hard work. Everyone wants what you have, and no one is willing to do what you have done to get it. And for me, for this episode, is invest in yourself. Be happy to spend money on yourself for skills that no one can take away from you. So that's everything for this episode. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you guys next week.